These days, Monster's energy drinks have become a common sight for most people. If you think about a huge sporting event, then 9 times out of 10 times, Monster Energy is likely to be among its main sponsors. This association is not without merit, as the Monster concoction does grant heightened energy levels with the caffeine and vitamin B content delivering that additional boost needed for excelling in highly physical tasks. As such, it has found a place in the diet of extreme sports aficionados, such as mixed martial arts fighters and high-octane motorists, which further propagates the brand's image. But since Monster was almost unheard of before the mid-2000s, you might think that the brand was created from scratch by its parent company Coca-Cola to rival the energy drink market's dominator Red Bull. But its story is far more fascinating. Monster Energy has all the attributes you would expect from a blooming enterprise: record sales, extensive marketing, bankruptcy, and stringent competition. Join us today for the real story behind the rise of Monster Energy. To understand the company's origin, we have to go back in time to the year 1935. Before World War II, California was just beginning to find success in a booming workforce-based economy, specifically in the period between the 1910s to the 1930s. It was during this time that Hubert Hansen came onto the business scene. Sadly, the records about his early life, such as his parents, his childhood, and his experiences as a young adult, do not exist, and therefore remain a mystery at best. What we do know is that in this time of the ever-expanding economic revolution in California, he sought to capitalize on one of the biggest markets at the time: juices. The hot and dry and all-in-all harsh climate of California, coupled with the fact that people wanted to have a steady provision of refreshments, made for a very attractive industry. Unfortunately, the 1930s was also the time of the Great Depression, which hit California especially hard since many people had to cut back on solid food purchases. But they still needed some way to make up for their lost nutrition, and that's where fruit juices came in handy. The rising demand for these cheap alternatives prompted Hubert Hansen to establish a fruit juice business in 1935 under the name Hansen's. His regular customers, with whom he could develop a regular stream of clients, included Hollywood film studios, retailers, and other wealthy clientele.
Some of them are very wealthy people.
Thanks to smart sourcing and sales during a crisis, Hubert was able to propel his company forward, with his beverages becoming common in much of the western part of the United States. Shipments of his drinks were sent out to the East Coast and some even as far as Hawaii. All of this was possible on account of a manufacturing plant established in 1946. But even with the high demand for his business experience, Hubert's juices couldn't compete on an equal footing with established industry giants that sold carbonated beverages like Coca-Cola. Also, the chief source of income for the company depended entirely on people's inability to purchase solid food. It wasn't too financially feasible, especially in the long run if the crises would ease off. In the late 1940s, when much of America began recuperating from the effects of the Great Depression, the economy of California went into overdrive, and there was simply no shortage of cheap, nutritious food anymore. Coupled with the fact that during this time, Coca-Cola became the fashionable drink of choice,
Give me a Coke.
Hansen's juices maintained a market enough to keep the company afloat, but the company failed to make a wide-reaching impact. Finally, Tim Hansen, one of Hansen's grandsons, established his own fruit juice company in 1977 under the name Hansen Foods, Inc. Little did he know, Tim would be creating a renaissance for the Hansen's business. The new business under Hansen's grandsons had its headquarters in Los Angeles and focused on pasteurized, shelf-stable juices, especially apple juice. Under Tim's guidance, the business quickly gained a reputation for flavor mashups and marketing. He essentially continued doing what Hansen started out doing, as their products contained only organic components. Midway through the 1980s, Hansen's sales topped a whopping $50 million. While this might seem impressive, the sales weren't increasing at a rate that allowed them to finance their new factory, and in 1988, it was forced to file for bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy? Yeah.
In January 1990, the California Co-Packers Corporation, a Hawaii-based company, bought the Hansen brand. After taking over, the company saw a revival in revenue. The business amounted to $13 million in sales that year and $17 million the next. It was also during this time that the first glass bottles were introduced in the summer of 1991. However, even while a team of financial experts ran the company, the innovations could not save them from a second round of bankruptcy.
It's a shame they had to file for bankruptcy.
In July of 1992, a group of investors comprising family and friends, including future CEO Rodney Sachs, as well as British industrialist Hilton Schlossberg, bought the struggling business. The investors believed that the brand's reputation for longevity and recognition would be worth betting on. At the same time, Hansen Natural Corporation went public and was listed on NASDAQ. The company quickly saw a turnaround, and as early as 1992, earnings were at an all-time high, bringing in $21.2 million. At the time, Hansen employed roughly a dozen people. After purchasing the company heads decided to outsource most of the work. Before launching a new flavor, for example, they would consult chemists and perspicacious flavorists. The beverages were mixed by independent businesses and shipped to independent bottlers. In the early 1990s, pint-sized iced tea, lemonades, and juices were introduced. In the new age drink category, they also served sparkling water as an alternative to classic cola drinks.
Somebody offer you something to drink? Pellegrino? Sparkling water?
The general perception of these drinks as being reasonably healthy helped Hansen keep up in the beverage market. Not long after, Hansen began adding taurine and ginseng to their range of canned smoothies, essentially making them energy drinks. Taurine, as you might know, is an ever-constant ingredient in Red Bull. The smoothies weren't just a brand new item, but according to Sachs, they indicated a fresh spirit of innovation in the business. Previous products they offered never made groundbreaking sales because the iced tea, lemonade, and juice cocktails were too similar to what Snapple and other competitors already sold. In 1997, Hansen's so-called functionals were put on the shelves. This was another energy-boosting drink marketed primarily as something medical. It shot away lethargy and was promoted as having other health-promoting properties, such as improved focus and boosting performance. But usually, they just added extra vitamins.
Vitamins.
Check.
Hansen obtained a nationwide product launch through 7-Eleven convenience stores. After signing distribution contracts with Dr. Pepper and 7-Up, the business intended to release a super smoothie and a packed, nutritious beverage for kids. Signature gourmet carbonated drinks made with cane sugar and clover honey were also put up in convenience stores because Sachs aimed to distinguish his brand on the basis of nutrition rather than flavor. All these moves would help the company gain expertise to do the very thing they would later become known for, their famous and best-selling product. The 2002 release of the company's Monster energy drink was its most important move. In an effort to steal market share from rival Red Bull, the business extensively invested in marketing the beverage, spending over $1 million annually. The drink was a break from the company's natural offerings with the slogan, "Unleash the Beast." It was offered in huge black cans with neon claw marks that were no doubt a subtle way of garnering attention to the drink.
Time to unleash the beast.
The product attracted multiple sponsorships from extreme sports, which allowed it to take 18% of the energy drink market, which was at a size of $2 billion at that time. While Red Bull still maintained its dominance with a 50% share, Hansen's energy drink sales increased by 162% by 2004, more than 3 times Red Bull's rate. The sales also doubled to $180 million in just 2 years, and the company's share values had increased from $4 in 2002 to $108 per share. Due to recent success, Hansen had risen to the top tier of small businesses. In fact, in 2005, the business was ranked first on Forbes' list of the 200 best small businesses in the U.S. In order to continue its sales success, Hansen has had to always up its game, and as a result, it expanded its line of energy drinks by including the Joker and Roomba in addition to Monster Assault, which was sold with the slogan, "Declare war on the ordinary."
I declare war.
By this point, Monster had become something of a cultural icon from its association with extreme sporting events such as BMX, racing, boxing, martial arts, and so on. It also became a sensation among young buyers, even becoming more appealing than Red Bull. The The largest beverage business in the world, Coca-Cola, increased its wager on the expanding energy drink market in 2014 when it decided to exchange some brands and spend $2.15 billion to purchase a 15% share in Monster Beverage Corporation. According to a statement, the move was a component of a deal that also involved the transfer of drinks such as NOS, Full Throttle, Burn, and Mother from Coca-Cola. Meanwhile, Monster Energy shifted over to Atlanta-based Coca-Cola products for Hanson sodas and juices, namely Peace Tea and Hubert Lemonade.
Wouldn't you like a nice cool glass of lemonade?
Letting the Coca-Cola Company take over the distribution and marketing worked wonders for Monster, as it could now use Coca-Cola's robust worldwide distribution center to its best advantage. In a brief period following the agreement, over 100 countries sold Monster Energy drinks. By the end of 2020, Monster Energy reported $4.6 billion in global net sales. The company still trades on NASDAQ and has a market cap of about $48.22 billion right now.
It's a lot of money, Joe.
On December 1st, 2016, NASCAR announced a multi-year agreement making Monster Energy only the third entitled sponsor in the long history of its premier series. While the agreement expired in 2019, Monster has had no shortage of sporting events to sponsor. More recently, Monster gained repute for its involvement in sponsoring fighters in the UFC. Some of the sponsored UFC fighters include Conor McGregor, David Cormier, and Cain Velasquez, among others. A recent analysis by Allied Market Research has predicted that the energy drink industry will grow from its meager $58 billion in 2018 to a whopping $83 billion in 2026. This represents a 7.2% compound annual growth rate. With statistics like this, it is probable that Monster Energy will continue to grow well into the future. Have you ever tried Monster Energy yourself? Or are you more of a Red Bull person? What surprised you about the brand's tumultuous growth and vicissitudes? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video entertaining or learned something new, please leave a comment and tell us what you'd like to see next. Also, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell on your way out so you won't miss out on our next inspiring video. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.